All right, chapter 11, lesson 7 is about dividing fractions. The best part about lesson 7 is that if you really mastered lessons 5 and 6 about multiplication, then you really don't have much else to learn except one thing in dividing fractions, which is that instead of dividing, we really multiply by the reciprocal. You probably remember doing this in basic math. If you had 2/3, for example, divided by 4/9, you simply flipped that second fraction to the reciprocal and then you multiplied. So you had 2/3 times 9/4. You could cross cancel and end up with 3/2, or you can do it the long way, get 18/12 and then reduce it. I'm learning to like canceling much better as I get older. So let me show you some of the problems that you'll have as you go through this book. Okay, if you have x divided by 6 divided by x over x plus 1, you're going to simply rewrite it as x over 6 times x plus 1 over x. The nice thing here is that you can see that this x and that x can cancel out. Nothing else can cancel out, and you end up with x plus 1 over 6. And that is your final answer. Short, sweet, to the point. Let's try this one. X squared minus y squared divided by x minus y over 9. Now, because I'm going to have to rewrite this problem, and I know this is over 1, I'm just going to go ahead and factor x squared minus y squared. I hope as soon as you see x squared minus y squared, it rings a bell and you think back to chapter 10 where you were factoring, and you think especially to the difference of squares. I've got a square here, I have a square here, and it's a subtraction problem. And so I know that I can factor it to x minus y times x plus y, and I'm going to write that over 1. Going to put my dot for multiplication. I'm going to put my 9 here, and I'm going to put my x minus y on the bottom because this is the reciprocal of x minus y over 9. Once I have it in this form, I see that I have been blessed with matches. I can get rid of my x minus y. I only have a 1 on the bottom, so I don't have to write anything on the bottom, and I can simply write 9 times x plus y. If you like to do it, you could say that that equals 9x plus 9y, but the factored form is okay with me. Let's look at another problem. Now this one is a little bit different. We have the top end. I can see that I can factor this, okay? There's no GCF. It's not a binomial. It certainly is not a perfect trinomial square because I can't take the square root of 3. So it is a booger problem. All I have to do, because there's nothing in front of the x, is a simple booger problem, and I think of factors of positive 3, which are going to add up to negative 4. Well, because this is positive, I know both of the factors are negative, because a negative times a negative gives me 3, and there aren't many choices. I've got x minus 3, and I have x minus 1. Now, that's all I have that are possible, and I have my x plus 1 on the bottom here. Of course, I'm going to put my dot for multiplication, and then I'm going to flip the x minus 3 and write it as its reciprocal, which is 1 over x minus 3. I ditch this and that because I can get rid of the entire group that matches, and I'm left with x minus 1 over x plus 1, and that is my delightful, much more simplified answer. Let's try one more. Okay, if I was given this problem, these are some of my favorites. If I had x to the 4th minus 16, I'm going to look at that and see how I can factor it. Okay, and I can, because I know that I can take the square root of this and the square root of that, and I can see that it's a subtraction problem. And so I can rewrite it as x squared minus 4 and x squared plus 4, okay? But then after I have factored and gotten rid of that, I can look and see that I can continue going. Because I still have a binomial, I still can take the square roots of both, and it is still subtraction. Therefore, I'm going to factor that further and make it x plus 2, x minus 2, and then also keep this x squared plus 4, which I can't get rid of. Okay, so now I've got all of this over here. And because I've already written this way up in the air, and I need to write the reciprocal of this, so instead of x cubed plus 2x squared, I am going to write it as 1 over that, and I'm going to make this not subtraction, multiplication, okay? But I'm also going to look here because obviously I can factor out the x squared. And when I factor that out, I end up with x plus 2 left, okay? And I love these kind of problems when things eliminate. So I'm going to kill off my twins, as I say, or my matches that are above and below. And I have an x plus 2 here and an x plus 2 here. And let's see, I know that I have x squared plus 4 up top and an x squared here. And that's all I've got left. And I know some of you are going, well, why can't I get rid of the x squared? This x squared is attached to that 4 with a plus sign, which means it is an addend, not a factor. And we can only eliminate factors when we are simplifying fractions. So that's all there is to it. If you know how to do multiplication, you can do division just by multiplying by the reciprocal. Just flip that second fraction and multiply. And remember, if you can factor and then eliminate factors, then you can make your multiplication quite simple. Have a great day.